Perfect.
Okay, good. So a few quick questions then. What is the best rivalry in badminton history?
The best, sorry?
The best rivalry in badminton history.
Yeah, I think there's no question that it's Lin Dan and Lee Chong-wei. And I think I have to really think a long time until anything else comes up in my mind. So yeah, definitely those two. And I also grew up with it. So yeah.
Yeah,
easy
and who
one.
are you? Are you team Lee Chong-wei or team Lin Dan?
Lin Dan.
Oh, yeah, I get it, but I'm a Lee Chong-wei fan.
I also get both sides, but I was clearly on the Lin Dan side, and also happy about it because there was way more occasions to be happy because he won the big matches.
Yeah, he did. But if you watched every tournament like I did when I was small, then being a Lee Chong-wei fan was good because he competed every weekend, of course. But yeah,
that's true.
World Championships and Olympics, I was a bit sad, but it is what it is. Okay, favorite on-court exercise?
Oh, I love, like, back then when I was more a singles player, I loved like we call it neutralization exercises, where we are deep in the corners in the backcourt and try to get out of that and survive. And nowadays, definitely defense, double defense, and maybe two players at the net, being in defense, also with a heavy racket, and then changing between heavy and light racket. That's so much fun, and I love it. And it's also still working quite good when you're not on your physical peak anymore.
I don't believe that. I've seen how you move. You move good.
Yeah, still okay, but I start I see the first symptoms of getting older, I guess. But yeah, still, I don't want to complain too much.
No, it's fine. Complain about my body is everything I do in my podcast, so you're in the right place to do that. It's fine. But you're 35, right?
Yes, true.
Yeah, I get it. But okay, favorite off-court exercise?
So, favorite off-court exercise, I love. I'm not that much working out in the gym anymore. Also because I feel I think that's not really the most important thing for me right now, and also in terms of badminton. But I love split squats, also with heavy weights, because that's where I also felt the biggest impact on my game when I did Bulgarian split squats. And deadlift was also I think one of my favorite exercises off court. Yeah, I go with those two.
Yeah, great choice. And just to follow up, because this is what I really love, did you do them more explosively? Was it heavy? Did you switch it around during the season, or how did you perform your lifts?
I switched around a bit, but like I would say 80% was a heavy load or explosive. Always a short phase with building up again, or with a few more reps and lower weights. But most of the exercises always around 5 to 6 reps and heavy or like very fast.
Awesome. And the next question, I think I know the answer already because of the first question, but if you could bring back any player at their peak to play right now, who would you choose?
Yeah, of course, Lin Dan is an obvious choice, but as I'm watching a lot of doubles and mixed doubles, there are also some other players I would like to see again. I was also a huge fan of Fu Haifeng. Amazing player, amazing attack. That would definitely be someone. And I would love to see compete Sang Nang and Zhao Yunlai against Zheng Siwei and Huang Yaqiong. Like I love mixed doubles. I love those two pairs. And I would wonder who would be the better pair if they compete at their peak.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah. And the last quick question. what is Tobias Wadenka's favorite shot to play?
I have to go with the smash. That's
Straight
also
or
an easy
cross?
one. Well, in singles, definitely straight. When I play doubles, I love going for the kill cross, like like really also taking the risk to maybe hit it wide, but maybe hit a winner. Yeah, I would say cross in doubles and straight in singles.
Yeah, and I have to ask, is it from your forehand side or from your backhand side that you prefer to smash?
Yeah, backhand side, a
Yeah.
lot easier.
Yeah, great choice. I can only agree with you. But now that we're done with the quick questions, I want to really deep into some questions because you are so knowledgeable and you've experienced so much, and you've seen players at all levels, from junior to senior to really good and maybe not like world class junior players as well. So before we get into those things, could you please tell me and the listeners about yourself, your current mission and work within badminton?
So yeah, just quick summary. I was also former professional player from Germany. I had a maybe we could say a bit interesting or special path that I was a lot changing between singles and doubles, always trying to get a chance to play at the Olympic Center and get to the national team. It took me quite a bit. So at 23, I was finally able to get to the center. There I was there as a singles player for 3 years. So I didn't made it all the way to the top or didn't reach my highest goals, but I was lucky enough to have the chance to follow my dreams and to live that professional badminton life for a few years. And then I went back to my hometown, and after that I started the transition from player to coach. So every year I was practicing a little bit less and diving more into the coaching coaching segment. And already early on, first of all, I wanted to become a teacher, or that was the usual or the first plan. But then I felt like I need more badminton in my life, and coach is the perfect combination of teaching others and still staying close to the sport. So from year to year, it went more into the coaching direction, and now I'm working full time at a junior elite academy here. So I'm still playing in league matches, sometimes a tournament if there's time. But my main focus is clearly the coaching side, and I get on court as often as I can, also sparring with our juniors. So that's still a lot of fun, but not the priority anymore.
Yeah, great. And do you have morning and evening sessions at the Juniors Elite Center, or is it how does that structure look?
Yes, we have some sports schools here in Germany where sports is combined with school. So the kids have, depending on their age and what class they're going to, they have morning trainings. The young ones have 2 morning trainings. The oldest ones have every morning. So it's part of their school schedule. The first 2 hours in school, then we have like training inside the school hall. Then they go to school, and then after school we have afternoon sessions. And so basically the oldest ones have the chance for 2 trainings a day, and the younger ones that are in the school start with 6 to 7 sessions, like from 5th or 6th grade on. So we have a good setup to really work in a professional way with a lot of time on court. And we also have a new school now for 2 years with like very good facilities, a lot of also weight rooms and stuff. So we have a very good setup, and also cool that we have the chance to combine school with sports in that kind of way, because that's of course a problem in many European countries. And we're glad to have those chances.
No, I understand. It's I've always dreamed of having like a the American college structure where you apply to a school and you have like a program for badminton, and you can you have a coach, a strength coach, and you compete against each other. Because it, from the movies where you watch American football and they have all those facilities and like the structure and everything. But it's really great that we have similar things here in Sweden as well, but only from when you're 15, 16 until you're 18 or 19. So 3 years of your last school years before college.
Yep. How is it in Sweden in terms of like the reputation if you're doing something like that, especially in a sport like badminton or not like the core sports? Because here in Germany, of course, when you are playing football on a professional level, then everybody is like, wow, you're a football player, that's amazing. But when you're saying that you're a badminton player on a junior elite level or even on a senior professional level, they're asking like, okay, and what else are you doing? So, and it's not really like, you don't get that much recognition, unfortunately, here in Germany for these things. Or if you choose the way of going for becoming a pro in sports like badminton.
Yeah, it's the same here. Unfortunately, it's people say, "Oh, you play badminton? That's fun. I played in my backyard or at the beach," and they have like zero understanding of that you can actually compete at a high level. So if you say anything, I'm trying to become elite or I'm trying to be professional, it's like, can you do that with badminton? It's that reaction. Like some of my friends, like I was never like at the best level or like the highest level in Sweden, but I still practice a lot, and my friends thought they could beat me, and I was like, I played for 20 years, like I practiced 20 hours a week at certain periods. You will get 0 points, and they were, no, it's even, and they have like zero understanding of the sport. But then, of course, the only thing I can do then is to play some points, give them 0 points, and make them understand that, okay, it's okay. Yeah. But no, it's not like that. But it was better before, because Sweden, we had like a really good period, like in the 80s and 90s. We had lots of great world-class players that then unfortunately dropped out. So then it was a bit better, I would say. But once badminton kind of lost its appeal for TV and like other sports like hockey, football, rally, handball, like when those sports came up, badminton kind of fell out, and we were good at table tennis as well, so that kind of took the spotlight as well. So unfortunately, we're in the same position. Zero respect for badminton in Sweden, unfortunately.
I had a fun story a couple of weeks ago. I was at a birthday party, and there were a lot of like non-badminton people, and then I was talking to one guy. He was also playing soccer in, I guess, one of the lowest leagues there are, and he was like also not looking like a a good athletic person. and I was and he said, he lives close to Munich, and at the moment I play at the second German league. And my team is in Munich, so I told him like, I play there, and we have like, I don't know, in 2-3 weeks there's the next league match we have. If he maybe wants to come by and and be there for the match. And then his answer was like, but I'm not sure if I'm a huge help for you there.
Oh my god,
that was crazy that people think like, maybe I'm not good enough to play second league right away.
That's funny and sad at the same time.
Yeah, true.
Oh no, I don't understand how people actually believe that about any sport, really. It's like no one would believe that. I can do Olympic level dart or anything that you like. No, you can't. If you don't practice, you can't.
I think also in the UK they had some studies, or they were questioning people if they start now in like after the Paris Olympics with practicing one sport, if they are able to qualify for Los Angeles in 4 years. And then they were like, I don't know, 60% thinking that they could qualify in something if they do that. And if they and a lot of people were also saying, table tennis or badminton. And yeah, this is just like you say, funny and sad at the same time.
Yeah.
And but
Yeah. Yeah, but people
shows
are
the standing and what people are thinking of our sport, or like the majority of European people are thinking about our sport at the moment.
yeah, and they are so wrong. But I think also there's like some studies that have been done, like when they asked regular people that watch sports teams, so soccer or American football, because those were the sports. Like a lot of people think they can be a better coach than the actual coach. A lot of people think they can just take over the club and be a better coach and be more successful. So people are, they have some weird images about themselves, and especially when they don't know nothing about the sport. But that's that. We can talk a whole podcast about the reputation of badminton in the society. But I was thinking of going back to you again with your current projects because you have your YouTube channel, you have your courses, you have a lot of things going on. What are your current projects?
So at the moment, I'm spending a lot of time at the academy, to be honest. So I would like to have a few more hours every day extra to do even more. So that's also the reason why I was not so active on YouTube anymore lately, because I was I went into a big project to develop an online course.
Yeah.
Because I was also using online courses now for the last couple of years, and I had some really good experiences with also learning something extremely fast, efficient, and also anytime I want. So that was also helpful for my situation. And I thought, like, okay, why isn't that, or is that also possible for badminton? Because there's a lot of content now out there. Back then, when I started the YouTube channel, I had no big ideas of, like, I was never expecting it to become that big and reaching so many people. But I saw like there were so many wrong videos on YouTube and not so much high quality content. And I thought maybe let's try if I can change something there and bring some more knowledge into the social media area about badminton. But now I think there's a lot of content out there, but no real structure, or more isn't always better. Like you can find, I guess, 3,000 videos about how to smash or how to cover the court, but still there's a lot of, I think, wrong information out there, and sometimes you also just have to choose what way you want to go or how you want to do certain things. And that's why I decided to make an online course where you have like a clear structure, where you have a clear goal, also when and what to do and how to get there. So that's, I think, something that's still missing or was still missing, and where I invested a lot of energy and time, or all the free energy and time I still had over the last kind of almost a year now.
You've been doing a lot. I can tell from everything. You've been doing a lot. But I looked at your, don't remember the name now, but it's like it's one of your courses.
The badminton basic course. 5-day badminton basics. Yeah.
Yes. And that was really, really good. And also that you have brought like a community as well on your platform, that the people are chatting and posting stuff and asking questions and answering questions. It was really fun to see that, and it was really high quality as well, like really, really high quality, because you've done the course all by yourself, right? With filming, editing.
I have someone now helping me with the filming and editing, especially for the footwork course. I would say it looks even better because I was I didn't have to handle the filming and editing. I had more time also to focus just on the content itself and the structure, and that's pretty cool that I have some support now, because I felt that the editing process was the one that's really killing me, or the time that it's so time consuming. Like you have to calculate at least 1 hour for 1 minute of video when you want to make some really good YouTube content, I would say. And same for course content. So, and that's just impossible for me at the moment if I want to push out that much content. And so I'm happy to have some support. And you said it. I there's one football course, a real big one, and there's also one free course with 5-day badminton basics, I call it. So 5 short videos, follow along videos that you can do at home, about the grip, about footwork, about like coordination, stability, mobility. And also one of the biggest things I've learned, I think, throughout my career as a player and a coach, that it's about like doing the basics correctly and also being consistent about what you're doing. So the idea is you can repeat those 5 workouts. If you repeat those 5 workouts every week, I think you will become like a lot better. Maybe not in 1 week, but in half a year, it will make such a big difference if you just stay consistent with the easy basics. And that's also one thing I wanted to do or wanted to offer with that free course, and also with the community around. So like you said, there's a free community connected to it where I just also love to chat and answer questions from people that are so enthusiastic and so into badminton and love the sport so much. So I also, my goal is to create a space for those people inside the community there.
Yeah. No, and it's really great that you've done it, because it's been something that's been missing for many years. So I think that's great. But I want to ask you a bit about footwork, your course. How did you decide upon doing it on footwork and not, let's say, shot technique or tactics, or how did you land upon footwork?
During Corona time, I was doing some of these footwork videos also on my YouTube channel. There are a few of them because I realized you don't need so much space. You just need your badminton shoes. Of course, you need an okay surface at home. And then you're good to go to practice a lot of patterns. Of course, there are some limits. You cannot do all the patterns that you need to cover a full court, or the combinations to cover full court, but it's possible to also make a big difference, because I knew some players that were in lockdown, but they were repeating the same workouts over and over again. And I saw that they were like really getting better a lot. Maybe even better compared to when they had 1 or 2 trainings per week without real focus or without real specific footwork focus during the training. So I thought, okay, and that's just some like random videos without any clear structure and out a clear goal where to get to. So I felt like, okay, this is something maybe that can really make a difference for almost anybody who has 2 to 3 meter space at home. And about, I think, racket skills is even more tricky in terms of you need a lot more feedback or correction. And it's also harder to correct yourself, because as soon as you hit faster shots, everything goes so fast, and it's hard to tell like what is happening here. Also, for me as a coach, I think it's so much easier to coach footwork than racket skills, and also for racket skills, if you want to swing, like I'm happy that I have quite high rooms here, so I can actually do swings. But most of the people, if they want to hit a smash, they will probably destroy their apartment very quickly, or it's also a lot more dangerous. So I felt like footwork was the obvious choice to go in the first place. But I also have a lot of ideas now, especially there's also one video about the grip, like I mentioned in the free basic course. And I think you can do a lot of things, or if you improve the grip and just the basic swings that don't necessarily take so much space, that can also be a game changer. So I have that also on my list for the future to maybe do a grip or racket skill course as well. But for me, footwork was a little bit easier, and I think also the more relatable thing maybe also for most people.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was great also to for someone to create a good quality footwork course, because I noticed that when so I also work as a badminton coach, and I have different levels of players, but when you see like the players that are really beginners and they only do the technique with the racket, they only try to learn how to hit the shuttle. Once they learn how to hit the shuttle and they realize they can't move, they can't play. Even though they know how to kind of hit the clear, they can't do it because they will never get in position. So I started doing with those players like some super basic footwork drills, just learning the patterns, how to move back and forward. And like they responded really quickly, because then they could actually move and reach the shuttle. And I don't think many people understand that you can hit how many good high you can have perfect technique when you're standing still at the back of the court, but if you can't get there, it doesn't matter, because you will never be in that position. So yeah, I think it was great that you really focus on footwork. And as you said, there's a lot about how to hit the shuttles. You know, the coach level 1 and 2 is for free on YouTube. So if you want to learn, you can go there. But footwork, I think, is still lagging behind a bit.
Yep.
But if you could, I of course recommend everyone to see your course and to complete it. But if you could just, what do you think is most important when it comes to footwork, or one lesson from the course?
I think the word I mentioned the most, or like the most important cue I would say I have at the moment is bouncy. Like being bouncy is super, super important. That also when you watch top players, they're never standing still, and there's always like they have like soft contact with the ground. Even when they hit a full power smash and they land in the back, it's like they bounce out of the corner again. They never get really stuck in any position. Or when they go into a deep lounge, they still manage to be bouncy and stay in the flow. And yeah, so that's why that's one of the main things. Not only when we do a split step in the exercise, of course, there we want to be bouncy, so we want to land soft and then push out fast, but also in the corners. And yeah, I think you can also see that when you have kids that do maybe rope skipping, and then you can already see some, it looks like stiff and not really smooth, and some are already really bouncy. They have also, of course, it has to do with the muscles, especially in the calves and the foot itself. But yeah, if they are bouncy there, then most of them also move, or you can get in nice movement on court a lot quicker, or you watch and you feel like, okay, now this already looks a lot like badminton, or how in my eyes badminton should look like in terms of movement.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I know when I was kind of learning and someone told me that you should do jumping rope. It's good for badminton, and I kind of didn't understand why. But then, of course, like I did it and it became better. But when you say that it's good for the bounciness and to actually move smooth, and now, of course, I understand that why the jumping rope is really good, like from a physiological standpoint as well. But that was, jumping rope and be bouncy on court. I like that.
Yeah. And we also are doing a lot of rope skipping now at our center, already from a very early age on, because I made the experience that if you never did rope skipping and you start very late, a lot of players get like shin pain, and I don't know the English word for it, but you get an inflammation in your legs very, very quickly, especially if you do too much. And yeah, we also have the problem with some players that even if we start really slow, they still get the pain, and we have to find other ways to create that, or how to work on being bouncy and explosive. But when they start early on, they get used to it, it's so much easier. And I think also is It's one of the most common training things for kids in Asia. Like crazy how much rope skipping they are already doing, and a lot of in our podcast that we're having, we talked to Xu Weiwen, former world number 1 from China, and she told us that she got scouted because she was good at rope skipping, or the coach just saw how she was doing rope skipping, and then she invited her to the badminton training. And in China, her first 6 months, I think she didn't hit a shuttle. She was just doing rope skipping, and then they have these pendulums where they hit. That was the first 6 months. Different world there. But she also told how important that rope skipping is. And every Asian player I met in the past, especially also Malaysia, Indonesia, I think it's such a huge part of their training routines. And I understand why now. I can see it makes a big difference.
I agree. I can tell that my players will do a lot of rope skipping this evening. I can tell you from this conversation because it's that's awesome. And I've heard like some really good Swedish player went to China to practice, and like they knew that they were going to do a lot of skipping, so they practiced at home, and they could do like a lot of doubles and triple jumps, and they were like really satisfied with that. They could do it for like a few minutes, get to China, and like the first session, I think it was like 20 or 30 minutes double triple jumps, no rest. And they were not ready for that. They were just happy they could start with the triple jumps. So that was a wake up call, I think. Maybe don't recommend that you start with 30 minutes of triple jumps, but that's how it is, I guess.
Like I said, I think with the rope skipping, it's so important to start slowly, especially if you never did it. Also choose the right surface, that you don't do it on like concrete or any really hard surface, but like start slowly and give your body time to rest after, and see how your legs react, because sometimes when you do it, you don't have any pain, but then suddenly the next day, the next 2 days, you can feel, okay, well, now it starts hurting already. So be careful with it, and the earlier you start, the better. So then there are lesser problems.
Yeah, of course. And I know that like some players, they so I was when I played, like before I had to quit, in my club there was like the best juniors in the country, like the under 19s, and some were moving on to the senior levels, and sometimes they followed some trends. And one time it was like, okay, skipping rope, that's a trend, and they just added on like 30 minutes per day on top of their like already 2 sessions a day practice. And I was just standing beside, and I was thinking, well, why are you doing this? It's not sustainable. You're going to get so many issues with that. And of course they came like 2 or 3 weeks after they had almost like shin splints and a lot of pain. So it's you have to get it gradually, because something is good doesn't mean that it's good if you do it like 5 hours a week on top of your regular training.
No, once again, I would always take like just a few minutes every day or every second day over like that one crazy hard session you do, and then you suffering pain, and like consistency, once again, more important than like going all out and trying to push it too much, maybe.
Yeah.
I also have a fun story. Like I remember we had a Malaysian player for a couple of months here, and then he was also crazy good at rope skipping, and then we were having dinner somewhere, and he was talking, or he was saying his basic routine was he was doing 100 double unders in 1 minute, and I think that's already pretty hard, because you have to, like 100 double unders for a good athlete is no problem, but doing it in 1 minute, you have to be really fast, and it's quite exhausting. And then he was having, I think, 15 seconds break, and then the next 100, and 10 times in a row. So I I tried it. It's well, I even after like 1 minute, 100. That was for me pretty hard. I needed a longer break to get back. And he was saying that to or telling that to us. And on the next table there were some people, and they were in a. I didn't know that it existed, but on a rope skipping club, or they were doing it like not professionally, of course, but that's what they were doing, and they couldn't believe it. And I was like no way he's doing that, and he had his rope in the back, and he was just wearing his casual things, and then they went outside, and he was just doing it, and they were totally blown away.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, that's insane. Good for him. How has his badminton gone since? Like, was he a junior player or was he a senior level player?
Like he was senior, just getting out of the junior.
Yeah.
A lot of like Malaysian players, or we had a lot of Malaysian players that were in the junior national team, and then they didn't make the next step, or they dropped out, so they were not being able to go to the Malaysian national team in the seniors, and then they came here to play for like first or second league teams. So but their level was crazy good, especially these Malaysians. Also, what they can do with the racket, things I've never seen before. And then you suddenly feel like how bad you actually are with the racket as well. Like as also the footwork, they are so fast and so bouncy on court. So that was always like a little like not wake up call, but like. You suddenly see, okay, these guys over there in Asia, they are on a different level, and what they are doing, we have to really step it up if we want to be able to compete with them.
Yeah, and what was the biggest difference? So because you noticed like the footwork and the racket skills, but more specific, was it just the speed of the footwork? Was it the timing, the technique, or what would you say was the biggest difference there?
So I would say different from player to player, but I think in general the speed of their legs was higher. So and some of them were just crazy fast, where you feel like you just can't match the speed. They're not tactically clever, or like of course they have good shots, but it was just their speed that was killing you. That you were always late running behind. They were a little bit higher at the net every time, and always able to get under the shuttle in the rear court. And so there were, I think, a lot of players that were just like definitely faster, not only because they had better legs, but also because they have a better footwork technique. And that was one difference. And then just the quality in the shots, like also the Asians, they practice a lot. They also focus on like getting in a lot of repetitions, and if you play a lift and they are good at the shuttle, they will just hit the line 8 out of 10 times, or 9 out of 10 times. And I think also when you see how we are practicing here in Europe, we are happy when we hit the line a few times, or like we don't want to get that good, or we don't have that high standards when we are practicing technical skills, especially when we go to the senior level. But there, it's about we need to, or they want to play it perfect and have a good placement, a good angle every time. So you can feel that some of them, just crazy good quality in their shots.
And do you think it's that it's us coaches that doesn't put enough demand on the players, or are we? What is lacking when it comes to those things?
I think in the end we have to accept that we will not match them in terms of time on court and training time. So I see no real way also in our like European world, and also when you see it, in many countries they have very little school when they are on the professional badminton way, and usually here you have to handle like 2 full-time jobs as a junior elite athlete. I see that with the kids here, they have like normal school like every other kid, but on top they are practicing 7 to 10 times a week. And we have to accept that we cannot just like practice like that many times with so long hours on court. We have to find better ways, or like be a little bit smarter maybe in the things that we're doing. Work with more intensity in terms of like maybe also always combine footwork and racket skills and never just do isolated. In Asia, I think also we also had a Chinese coach at the national center, and we were doing a lot of isolated technical things because we also had a lot of time when you're a senior pro, then it's a little bit easier. But I think many times you can do it a bit smarter and especially also get the tactical perspective or see like not only how to play that shot, but also when to play it and how to get into a situation where I can actually use it. So yeah, maybe to make the training a little bit more complex and try to be smarter. That maybe is the way to like not get better. I think it's the first step would be try to be able to compete with Asia and get a little bit closer once again.
Yeah. When you practice technical skills, let's say racket skills more, do you always have movement in the legs, or do you do isolated things as well, even still?
Like I said, back then I did a lot of isolated training. I would try to, if I could go back, I would change that definitely. I would add in more like footwork as well as tactical components, even when we just do technical training. I think there are also times where it's okay to do it more isolated, especially when you are super tired at the end of the training, where you want to just work on that touch at the net, or just get a few more reps in, but you feel like you cannot move with high speed anymore, and you don't want to practice just with like bad footwork. So I think there's time for that, also for that isolated technical training. But yeah, if you think about it, I think always you can find ways to make it a little bit better, or do it smarter than just standing in one corner. And yeah, because sometimes that what you're actually doing then in terms of like movement is so far away from what you are doing in a match in the end. And like you said, when you're standing still, everybody can hit it's easy to hit a quality shot or play it over the net. But if you have to move with maximum speed and have also like mental pressure, and it's a totally different story. And we need to be better prepared for that.
I agree. And also like I think I feel, so I at one time when I still played, I got like a mental block serving. So I just couldn't hit the shuttle out of my hand, especially playing short doubles. And I saw a lot of players, like I tried it back then, and a lot of players also did it. So they were standing and serving perfect every time. Double serves, perfect. And then match situation, and it was back to the regular bad one. And I thought about it a lot, and then I realized that if you don't have like the mental block, but you want to practice serve, you need to at least be tired when you practice. So I would do, and I let my players do it as well. So if we're practicing serve, it's like we do some shadow work to get tired, and then serve to simulate when you're tired on court and be a bit stressed with a high pulse and still trying to control everything. Just practicing the technique even when you're tired, I think, is something I never did, I think. Do you do that as well? Or how do you even practice like those like serve situation just from when you're fresh, or do you get tired and then do it? How do you think about that?
I think that's a very smart approach to at least simulate the physical pressure that you're having. I find it very hard to simulate the mental pressure because it's just different. You can sometimes also do something like that when you I don't know, to work with like punishments when you're not hitting the serve over. Of course, you need to be careful with that as well. And in the end, it's still different from like serving at 1920 in a match where you really care about the outcome a lot.
Yeah.
So but at least, like you said, adding in that stress in terms of you're out of breath, you're not totally relaxed in the arm and the fingers anymore. That is important, and I think that also helps to bridge the gap a little bit between normal serve training and being able to play quality serve in a tournament. And we do it in different ways. Of course, our older double players, they have to do a lot of serves because it gets so important when you want to be able to compete on the senior level. And especially that's also one part of the game where you can get a few points or more points than the Asians, because they're also very good servers and tactical smart players, but there are also some of them that that are just very good in the rally, but they just want to play and want to get the shuttle in. And so I think this is one of the things where we can get maybe a little edge, and also where you see some top Danish pairs, for example, in the last couple of years, where they are really good, and where also some other players just started in the end only flicking because they wanted to take away the service situation from them. But we also, when we practice serve, I always love to have a receiver on the other side. I also want to maybe try to cover for something. So once again, when we are alone, okay, when we just do serves, but when we have at least a second player, why not make it a little bit more realistic and get more out of it than just the serve movement?
Yeah, that sounds smart. Really smart. But I mean, this podcast could go on for like 5 hours at least, I feel. So I have to like get to the questions that I really want to ask you. And now I want to get back to like the junior level of players. And in your opinion, how has badminton like changed at the junior level for like the last 15 to 20 years?
So when I compare when I was a junior to now, I'm working with juniors. When I compare my time back then to their time, it got so much more professional here in Europe. Like in terms of these sports schools that we're having, there were some sports schools back then, but I feel like it was just different. During my junior years, I also had not that much school like the kids are having now. So my day was not so packed, and there was also more time to like just be active outside badminton. Now the kids, a lot of juniors are focusing really on badminton a bit earlier, because it's also kind of necessary if you want to keep up and if you want to be able to compete on a high level. Because also you can see it, other countries are also getting a lot better. Like back in my days, when you play someone from, I don't know, Romania, that was like a buy, kind of, because they were so far behind in every aspect. And now when you look at also senior tournaments, but junior tournaments, every country, as these smaller countries, made a huge step forward. And everybody knows like the basics a lot better now, especially in singles. There's a lot of competition. Every small country has at least one or two players they can really that can really play and challenge you. So it got a lot tougher and more professional. And I think there's also more science and knowledge in general now in the badminton world. Like when I also compare the strength and conditioning part, back in my days, there was not much knowledge behind that, what I was doing and what we were doing at the centers. And now you see even like lower level SNC coaches are quite knowledgeable, I would say, and they know some things about how to develop like strength and speed and stuff. So like I think in every other sports, athletes get faster, stronger, better, and maybe also the or not maybe, I'm sure that also social media help to get more knowledge, even if you're not having a professional coach, or even if you're not having the badminton culture in your country, to get on a higher level. And that's why I think it got a lot tougher and harder to compete even on the European level nowadays.
Yeah. And how do you think about so when we talk about like the long-term talent development, that says that early specialization is bad in the long term, because you want to have more like a generalist player that's play a lot of sports, and they do many activities, and then when they get like to 15 and 16, then they kind of choose which sport they want to pursue their career in, and then long term they usually see that they are better than those that specialize early, and also less injury risk. Do you agree with that, or how do you see that thing?
Yeah, I think I agree. So it always depends on how that late and early specialization really look like in the end. I think you can also have a lot of badminton training early on, if you have that in mind, and if your badminton training is not only badminton. If you know as a junior coach, when you work with 6, 7, 8-year-olds, like how to develop a big foundation in terms of coordinative skills, and it's okay if you're having also a training where you like maybe are only playing with the racket the last 15 minutes, or if you're not building up the nets at all, if you're having like a smart way of building a big foundation in the context of a badminton training. But if you start with those young kids, and if they're only doing badminton, and if you want to like try to get the very badminton specific skills right from the beginning, I think that's not the way that I would go. And there's also a lot of studies that in the end the most successful people in like open game sports are those with a big foundation, and that are also did many different sports. So the younger ones here at the academy, we also encourage them to do those other activities, and see if they also maybe have no badminton training that day, if there's another chance to be active at least, and do like anything is, I think, a good idea in the beginning. When you get a little bit older, and I think 15, 16 is already quite late if you really want to get to the top or get to a professional level. And for example, if you are 15 and still playing tennis, I think that harms your badminton technique at that level already. Like I played tennis and I stopped earlier, and in the end I already felt like the movement patterns that I need for playing good tennis were just different, and they were like colliding with the things that I want to develop in terms of badminton at that moment. So in the beginning, do as many different things as possible is, I think, a very, very good idea. But you also need to be able to learn the basic techniques as fast as you can. You don't need to master them, that you can play them on the line every time. But I think if you look at world-class players, when they're finished under 13, they basically can do everything in terms of footwork and racket skills.
Yeah.
When you like have also not like a match context, but if you just play them to the rear court, then they can play stick smash, slice, reverse slice, backhand, neutral shots, clears, with good quality, or like with a good movement quality. It doesn't necessarily has to work in a match, but I think that's the demand that you should have in mind if you want to talk or think about world class in the long run.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think that like there are also some study that says that you need to play, like certain sports requires you to specialize a bit earlier than others. And I think badminton and tennis were quite early in the specialization. But then again, I also think that the research is, because you have to take in mind that you can't really force anyone to play another sport just because it's good for their long-term development. A lot of people just want to play badminton, so you can't force them to. Yeah, you have to go play football now for 3 days a week. You know, you can't do that. And again, like if you're a club coach, you can't just say, okay, we're not going to practice badminton for 5 weeks. We're going to do soccer, and then we're going to do handball. Like it wouldn't work. So it's a big puzzle, and it's difficult. But I think that we need to take that into account as well. And I agree with you that you need to learn a lot of things quite early as a badminton player, which is difficult, and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But
and I think if I can add one more thing, what is for me the most important thing, if you want to come from Europe and want to become really good, is that you just love what you're doing. Like you really need to fall in love with the sport. And I saw a cool quote from Patrick Muratoglu, the famous tennis coach. He got asked by someone like, what is the perfect amount of training for a, I don't know, 8-9-year-old? And he said, like, for him, the perfect amount is when the kid gets home and he can't wait to get to the next training. Like I think that's a super good rule also. If you feel like a 10-year-old is already kind of, once again training, I would like to do that, then I would say, you need to change something. Maybe you can change the training to make it even more fun for him, and even that he has even more or has more joy and can't wait to get to the next training. Or you say, we have to reduce the training times, and then you do something else there, maybe something that is also beneficial for badminton or to build that foundation. But like the number one thing should be that you love what you're doing. I know there are also different approaches, and also culture plays a huge role in that there's maybe different views on that if you go to India, China, I don't know when. But for me as a coach, that's also at our academy the most important thing. Like you need to, like, badminton is what you love to do, and you choose to do it.
I think that was a great answer. I couldn't agree more. It's so important, and it's something that we can't forget, because it's really easy to start forgetting that you're working with kids sometimes, because they are motivated, they want to be better, but it's still, you have to remind yourself, and it's hard. But we have 2 countries now in Europe that is really, really moving fast forward, Denmark and France. And I know you've been in Denmark and looked a bit. I'm not sure if you looked at the junior levels, but you were at the Peter Gade Academy. But how does Denmark do it with their talent development and player development?
I've been there a couple of times, also all levels, and I think the most interesting times for me were when I saw junior badminton and I saw big clubs, how they are doing it, and how the coaches and how the club system works there. First of all, I think the Danish people are pretty smart in many ways, and also in terms of how they are developing like kids. And how they are able to teach them the skills that they need, at the same time make it fun, make training like they go home and they want to come back again, and it's just fun learning. It's a fun environment, and like they are very good at that. They also have different kinds of programs. For example, Miniton is a program for kids. You can start at 4 years. And where your parents also have to join, then they are there to feed other kids, so you can already make some exercises work, because every coach knows it's a nightmare if you want to do some technical training with kids where a shuttle is involved, because no one can feed and of course it gets super boring and hard to handle more than just a handful of kids. So they have a lot of smart ideas to face these problems, or how to face these challenges, and how to like develop joy for the sport, and at the same time develop really good movement patterns. And like also things like they have a tournament system where they don't play on a full court, and where they like also limit the court size. And I think this is one of the most stupid things that we are doing, that we let play 10-year-old kids on a full badminton court, and we let them play singles. And this, if you just look at the game, how it looks like, what movements they're doing, and also what movements they need if they want to be successful there, like we force them into something that teaches wrong skills and bad footwork, bad shot technique. So we try to change that a lot. We lower the net, we make the court smaller. We have to create an environment where you actually get benefits from using a good technique. Like I have a very good example at the moment. A small girl, I think has very good. She's super bouncy and also has a good touch for the for the shuttle and good racket skills. But as soon as you play with full court, like her movement gets way worse. As soon as we take away the rear court, just that half a meter away, her lifts and the movement gets so much better. And you see that she don't needs to swing her racket back like half a meter and make a huge swing to play it all the way to the back. But yeah, that's what she's doing, because of course she wants to win, and that's also good that the kids want to win when they are playing matches. But yeah, let's create an environment where we win with a good technique. And I think to get back to the question, that's where the Danish people are very smart. And every time I talk with coaches from there, I learn new things about being smart in training and how to do it in a smart way. And that we can learn a lot from them, I would say.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think tennis is really good at making it great at every level. You start with a really like a bouncy softball. And I'm not really sure exactly how the progression looks from there, but you start in a way where everyone can play. And I really like what you say about limiting the court size. But is it only taking away the rear court, or do you think even half court for total beginners is a good way? Or how would you do it for like the 9-10-year-olds?
I would say it depends on what you want to develop. And I think half court is fine. Also to play a lot of box games where you take away the front and the back and only play on a half a court. But what I see, like half court, at least when I was watching club training here in Germany, half court is a huge problem because many times there are a lot of kids, they only have limited courts, so they end up playing on half a court. And what happens if you play on half a court, if you're 10-year-old and if you're having like a net that is way higher than yourself? You start like playing with the wrong grip, where you have like the panhandle grip because you want to hit it over. You never do a split step because you only have to move back and forward in a linear way. You have no sideway movements or almost no sideway movements. So if you let them just play on half a court, and I had an experience there with the club, they were, I think, trying to invest a lot of time on technical training to get the grip right, to work on a split step. And they were asking me like, we do so much, but they just don't get better. They cannot change it. And when I was watching the training, the first 20 minutes were like playing on a half a court. And the last 20 minutes were like playing matches on a half court. So they hit it like 40 minutes, and they hit it way more shuttles in those flying shuttle times than compared to their technical training. But they were hitting them all with the wrong grip, with bad footwork. And it's impossible to change anything when you put them back into that bad environment for their technique. So sometimes you can also make the court a little bit like wider, because then you can work more on sideway movements. You need a better split step, or you can do more with the better split step. And with those young ones, I love to do things without the net. because in the end, the net stops you from playing longer rallies. They are making mistakes, and a normal net, if you don't have the chance to lower it, it's just way too high. It makes no sense at all to play on a normal net with an 8-year-old. It's terrible idea if you want to develop a good technique.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's something that we could improve a lot. And also, I've heard a lot of like there's some, we have like the kids rackets, the really, really short ones. And then you have I guess it's 3 sizes. They're the smallest, and then the regular is the biggest, of course, and then you have the in between. And I think I don't have those groups that are so young that they need to have a different size rackets. But I think that I still hear people say, "Oh no, we can't start with a small racket because then they won't be able to play with a big racket later on." And I don't agree. They need to learn how to like there is. If we were to play with rackets that's the same height as us, it would be insane. Of course we wouldn't be able to play. And I think that we, like what you said with the court size, and also to let the smallest kids play with rackets that's their size, I think is sounds like a really good solution, I think.
Yeah, 100% agree. Look at what your kids are playing with. I think there are some mistakes in terms of the racket, where the racket is way too big. Also, look at the grip. And if you compare the hand of an 8-year-old with your hand, and then see where the fingers are positioned when they have different kinds of grips, we need super thin grips for the kids. Otherwise, they have to hold it really tight, and that will kill everything. When you have a tight grip, your forearm gets tight. You don't create any swing, and in the end you end up with panhandle to hit it and just get it over the net. So the grip is super important for me. And also how when they get a little bit older, I also see some 11, 12-year-old kids playing with the heaviest, stiffest top racket from the brands, and sometimes I think I'm pretty strong, but I feel like when I have a little bit pressure, I cannot generate power with those rackets anymore. I'm not strong and fast enough with my arm. And then you look at the 10-year-old boy with super thin arms and no power at all. He should have the lightest racket in the world. Maybe he can start playing with a long racket, but it should be super light. It should have a super thin grip. Should be flexible. So otherwise they will get worse technique, or they will not develop a good technique when they always have things like that. Also, one last thing is also shoes. I see so many people with shoes without any grip, and what's the consequence? You will never do a split step, or you will never push off with the low position, because then you will slip away, and you will automatically learn to just run around the court, and the best solution to handle your bad shoes. So if I want to give advice to parents or coaches, check the weight and of the racket, the grip, and check the shoes. So that needs to be a good fit for your kid. And otherwise, I don't think there will also be less fun in the future for the kid because you don't get better with bad material.
Yeah, no. Again, I agree. I can't argue anything. It's overlooked, and because I see kids even competing, they go into the hall with regular jogging shoes or sport shoes, and it's get some shoes, because you can't play with that. So I agree, and this was really this part of the podcast I learned more than I had thought. It was about how to make the court smaller for the kids. It's something I definitely will make sure to implement, and to let other coaches that work with those kids to actually do, because that's when you say it out loud, even with the smaller rackets, everything, and the thinner grips. It makes so much sense that like even imagining not doing it sounds crazy now. So that's
Yes.
good.
Yeah, I think we are one of the only sports that let small kids play on the normal court. I don't know, any other sport. Just imagine a 5-year-old playing on a normal basketball court.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense, or it's just stupid. And yeah.
I mean, I think sorry, continue.
I think one big challenge, or like what I hear many times, is that people are saying, yeah, but the kids want to play on a real court with with normal nets. I had that when I started lowering the net, and I had some different players from other clubs. Like it was like, okay, what we're doing now? Why we don't play on a real court? And also coaches are saying that, and that's where we need to develop a culture in our club. Like a small kid doesn't care in the beginning how big the court is or how the net is. There's no real, the only real badminton is what we are telling them that real badminton or real training is at the moment. And if you grow up with, okay, the net is, I'm smaller than the other ones, so of course I have a smaller net and a smaller court. And so it's easier if you start right away. And but you can start also when they are used to the big courts, but you have to explain them why it is super important and why is this helpful, why we get so much better now when we practice in those conditions here, and we'll be more successful in the long run. And that's where we also need to be aware as coaches what kind of training culture we develop. And here, once again, the advantage in Denmark they have is that they are having that tournament system where they play also on a smaller court. So of course there are a lot of parents that are saying, yeah, but now my kid is practicing on a small court and then he's losing everything when they have to play the big court. And that of course makes it harder to explain them why it does make sense to play on those different court sizes and net sizes. But that's something I think we need to face, and we have to be smart in that way if we want to develop good badminton early on and also compete on a higher level later on with the ones that go the long way.
Yeah, and I was just gonna comment on the things that you just mentioned about training on smaller courts but competing on bigger courts, because that will be an issue for many players because they want to win, so they don't want to play during practice with the smaller courts. But then it sounds more like we need to make a change, like in the rule book, that when you're playing under 11 maybe, so under 9, under 11, that the court, you should remove the baseline or something like that. But that's a big problem. But I think training wise, I think that it sounds like the best possible way to do it, reducing the court size. Good. Okay, so time is moving too fast, but I just have a few more questions that I hope that you have time to answer.
No problem.
And this is, there's so many questions left that are important, so I just have to pick the ones that I think we haven't covered too much yet. But what are the most important things for players of all levels to focus on, both on court and off court, in your opinion?
So, most important thing, like in general, once again, I would say being consistent in what you're doing, and like having regular training, having a focus. You don't need to go all out and do the crazy things you see on social media from pro players or what others are trying to tell you what is important. But get the basics right, work on the basics on a consistent basis. And with the basics, I mean, do a good split step, be bouncy in the corners, so learn how to move out of the corner when you're in there. And in terms of racket skills, grip, for me it's grip, because if you have it's like the first button of a shirt. Like if you have the grip, if the grip is wrong,
Yeah.
Like it's the first button is wrong, everything else is wrong. Like you will mess up the swing of the arm, you will mess up what your hip and your shoulders are doing, and that will mess up your footwork. So for me, the more you focus on having a good grip, and that's why I implemented the grip follow along video, because I think you can do a lot of easy exercises at home, or perfect if you do them before the training. So you start with a loose, relaxed grip and know how to change the fingers and stuff. I think that will solve a lot of problems in the rest of the system. So yeah, in general, I think the question pretty broad, depends on if are you a junior, are you already like playing for a lot of years. But for me, those are the most fundamental things on court. And like if you're off court, it's also the fundament. So the mobility in your joints, you need to be mobile. If you are too stiff or like have no range of motion in your shoulder, you will not be able to have a good overhead shot technique. Or if you're not have enough hip mobility, you will not be able to get into a deep, smooth lunge and get out of it. So you need mobility in the most important joints. You need to be stable with your leg axis, so you're not injuring yourself, and also need to be stable in your core. And yeah, and the good thing also here is doing basic, easy basic drills before the training when you're at home having time. And when you're good at that, I think you're also better than 90% of most badminton players, because they have problems in that foundational parts.
Yeah.
And then maybe the third thing in terms of like off-court fundament is like coordination, like being able to coordinate your body, to jump, land, also move your feet independently. I think this is a very important skill for badminton players, that we sometimes move only one foot and not always move at the same time. So like coordination, mobility, stability, that's your off-court foundation, and on-court things I mentioned before.
Yeah, and from that I took like my notes that I've been keeping on the side is consistency, being really good at the basic fundamentals. Like those are the main things I heard that you said now, and and also like the example, I think you said it now, with that you see like the crazy exercises on Instagram, and you think that that's the key to unlocking your performance, but it's like, no, you need to kind of learn how to do a lunge first before you start doing Victor Axelsen or Shu Tianchen stuff. Like learn the basics. So I think that's perfect. Did I miss anything in my summary of consistency?
No, great. I think that's a huge problem, because those basics, they are not so like Instagrammable, if I don't know if that's a word, but no one would love to see a top player just doing a boring plank variation at home, or would like to see him like turning the grip in his fingers, and I don't know. But I saw a super cool video just 1 week ago of Carlos Alcaraz. He's like the best player in the world in men's tennis at the moment, and he's doing like the most boring drill, like shadow training. Cones? Yeah, he was just doing, and very interesting also, the split step he was doing there is very similar to badminton, and then he was just like doing that split and then hitting like doing a swing with the racket, and then he was doing one step. Like it looked super basic, where you were thinking like, okay, that guy should be able to do a split and then hit a forehand and hit a backhand. But like that's these top players, they're doing that over and over again. And also on top tournaments, you see like you see women single players practicing 1 hour of forehand serves, because this is like the basic foundation. If the serve is perfect, then they have a good start into the rally. If it's not perfect, then they already and then 5 centimeters make a difference on the top level. Like it never stops working on those basics, no matter what level you're on. So just get them better and get them as perfect as possible. No,
and I think that's such an underrated thing. And I just remember that you hear a lot of kids saying that when you practice like the technique within net shots or whatever technique you're working on, and they, especially at the net, and they can just get the shuttle to go over the net. And you do it one week, and then the next week they said, "Are we doing it again? I already know how to do this." Like every time, and it's like, yeah, but also no, but I get what you mean. But like even the best player in the world does this every day almost. So yeah, but that's the basics. Yeah, and I think this would be a great spot to end the podcast. But I have one more question if you have time.
Sure, go ahead, no problem.
And this is actually more about you. Not so much about badminton anymore, but it can be included. But that's just, what are your current goals? For life, with badminton as a player, as a coach, or what are your goals?
Interesting, because I also thought a lot about, or always constantly thinking about, what is the goal also with the academy, with all the things that I'm doing around. And I always said, when I started at the academy, or when we got the better setup and like getting more professional, I always had that goal of, okay, we want to be able to develop world-class players in the future. So I would love to, maybe in a far future, sit on a coaching chair at the Olympic Games with a German player on court, and then not only being there but really competing. To be like, we have to be honest, at the moment, some German players will qualify, but it would be a miracle if they get even close to winning a medal. So playing a part in developing athletes for the future that be able to compete there. But I felt this can also be very demotivating. Like, I think still this is a nice vision for the future, but it's still far away, and you cannot really skip steps on the way. I think this is also an important thing, that it's just about getting a little bit better, and every single day, every single week, and that's also what I'm trying to focus now on in my day-to-day job, especially, that we just make things a little bit better this week, and then I'm confident that the generation we're having right now at the center will get a little bit better than the generation before, and the next one even better. So really focusing on the process, and I enjoy a lot that process at the moment, and seeing that we make small little steps, but I think small little steps into the right direction, and in the end, we'll see where these steps will lead to. I'm convinced that they will lead into, or they will lead to big things when we just continue to do them in the long run and stay consistent with it once again. But enjoying the little steps, and when I see that a player improved the grip or got more relaxed, or that were able to change the environment in terms of court size, net size, that this is something normal now at our center. These are things that bring joy to me, because I think those small steps make a big difference in the long run.
That's great. And do you have any personal goals?
Personal goals, like I said, focusing on the little things more. That's also something I try to be better now for the last couple of months, and it works pretty well. And not only in the badminton world, but also my personal life. That not everything is badminton, and I'm super happy and grateful that I have a great life outside of badminton, a great family. I have a daughter that where I enjoy it a lot to spend time with her and see her grow up. So also enjoy these moments and these steps on that way. And then at the same time, also with the with the online things, the courses, not really having that big goal where I say I want to change the world of badminton, and where I want to make badminton the number one sport in the world. Maybe I can play a part to make it a little bit more popular. That would be amazing and cool. But I'm doing it because I enjoy producing content, editing videos, and doing those things in my free time. So yeah, always enjoying the process there as well.
Yeah. Again, I think that sounds great to not forget those things that are important as well in the life besides work and besides badminton. Because of course, you are at like working with some motivated people. That it must be hard for you to not get really emotionally involved and to be really like you want to spend. I'm just assuming now that you want to spend a lot of time, like every tournament. You want to spend more time in the halls, and you want to give everything all the time.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also maybe the downside of having a job that you love so much that you it's hard to say no, I don't want to spend more time on it. So there are always things where I think, okay, I could make a video here for the next session. I could prepare that even better. But yeah, you have to find the right balance. So I think that is important, and sometimes also challenging and tricky. But yeah, like I think working with people, that's something that's just a privilege and so cool for me. And when I think about the best moments of the last couple of years, where I felt the most like joy, fulfillment, it was actually the players that I had in the past when they were not anymore at the center, when I got messages from them. Like sometimes they contact you after years, and then you hear some nice words. Yeah, that's just I think the coolest thing in the world, when you feel like you made a difference in the life of someone, no matter if it led to big successes in sport, or if they just think like they get something out of the badminton journey for their life and have a cool life now after that. I think that's super nice, and I hope to get a lot of that in the future. Yeah, because for me that's what it's all about. Like not working with athletes, but working with people, and like playing a maybe little part in a successful life or a fulfilled life of others.
Yeah. I can see how that feels really good to have that feeling, and it's also it feels so rare that not only do you like your job, you love your job, but also to have that impact in people's lives, like the direct impact that coaches can have. It's and also to not only teach them badminton, but lessons for life. That's something really rare, I must say.
Yes, and when I look back at my journey, even though it didn't brought me or led me to the become a world-class player, I'm so grateful for the journey, for the sport, and like you said, for the coaches. There were a few coaches that had such a big impact on my life and on the direction or the directions that I went in the end, and like that brought me into the place where I am right now. I would not have been here without badminton, and I'm just so happy or grateful for the sport and the people on that journey. So yeah, that's also now shifting perspective. Cool if you can be the person playing that role for other persons on that journey.
Yeah, definitely. And it feels good to know that your junior players are in great hands based on what we've discussed today and what I've seen from you before. So I wish you and them the best, and I hope you get a great year on tour.
Thank you.
And before I stop the recording, big thank you for spending the last 100 minutes with me. A stranger you knew nothing about, and you've taught me so much. So huge thank you for that and the conversation.
Yeah, you're welcome. And when you contacted me, I already said it before the podcast. I was surprised that I didn't know your podcast before, because it's so cool to have also that scientific approach, also having another perspective in that podcast format. And you got me with one sentence. I think it was in the first episode where you said like you don't like it when people are criticizing it without doing anything. So I like that when you talk the talk, you need to walk the walk, and that is really cool. I think that's something I thinking a lot about now, since I listened to you saying that if I'm always backing up what I'm maybe criticizing or saying, and cool. And I also want to thank you for walking the walk with your podcast and investing so much time. And it was a pleasure. It didn't feel like 100 minutes.
No, it's I felt that we could have, like, I'm not nearly done with this, but I hope that we in the future can maybe bring a part 2 of you as a guest.
Sure. Let me know if people liked it, or if you're losing now all your listeners, then we maybe have a personal call. But yeah, if people enjoyed it, I'm up for it. Just let me know.
Yeah, of course. But once again, like, huge thank you. It's been great talking to I love talking about badminton, but also to learn so much and to hear your perspective as well. Coming from a professional player to a coach, and still being so young, which is also quite unique. It feels like with your experience, you could have been at least 10 years older. It feels like.
Yeah, feel like every week I'm learning how much I'm not knowing, or how many things I don't know at all, and I'm quite confident that I won't get bored by that job, or don't think that I will say in a few years that I figured it all out. Quite contrary, I'm eager to learn more, and hopefully, like I said, have a lot of good small steps in front of me in the future. Yeah, but thank you so much. That's always nice to hear something like that.
Yeah, no, I'm the one that should be thanking you. And then I'm also hoping that you have more time to update your YouTube channel, because it was like 6 months, or was it 3 months, something like that.
Maybe, yeah. Like I said, the time went mostly into the online course and the online community. Yeah. So if you want to see a bit more content, then check out the community, the free one, and also the free basic course. And if you want to level up your footwork, we also made a New Year's deal for the footwork course until 15th of February. So maybe that's also something, if you want some more content, there you can find it. But hopefully also more on YouTube in the future again.
Yeah, because your channel is like you deserve, of course, more subscribers than you have, based on the top level of content you produce, but also the way your videos actually make a difference. So I hope to see you more on YouTube, but for the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna really dig deep into your footwork course.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm gonna stop the recording now.